COD Zombies. Started over 10 years ago at World at War, and then expanded into this multi-universe, a timeline with stories so complex it takes over 2 hours or even 4 hours to even explain the basics, with ups and downs. With this mode becoming a requirement in future installments, with Cold War now being out for 8 months, how do zombies hold up? After investing over 4 days total in playtime on Cold War Zombies and unlocking Dark Aether, I can confidently say my honeymoon effect worn off, with me exploring every nook and cranny in these maps, exploring all the different weapons, and see what it has to offer. Heads up, I will be only showing World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and Cold War zombie footage, because BO3 and 4 are still $60 both, and I'm not paying $120 for them. First, I'm going to start with the positives as usual. We're going to get into the maps. So these are just the positive things, and negatives about the maps will be later in the video. First map had to make a strong impression. You gotta remember, this was the huge era of zombies, with the storyline finishing up and starting a new one. So let's see how the first map ended up doing in the grand scheme of things. D Machine is a callback map done right. Take place in Notch the Totem, but expanded upon heavily. You are able to go into the fields back in front of the map, adding an entire new underground bunker, a new boss zombie, obviously the fact they added perks, starting, it strong with this new era of zombies. Now to the second map in this installment, Firebase Z. This one takes place in Vietnam. The map is much bigger than D Machine, with a larger amount of zombies per wave, introducing 2 bosses in this map, one being called the Mimic, and the one making a return from a previous game, Black Ops 3, the Mangler. Well, every 10 or 15 rounds, you get this holdout type of mode. You gotta protect the machine which powers the map. You get sentry guns to help you, and these machines give you 1 free kill streak per machine. After that, they cost 8,000 credits to get, so you gotta be careful and make the right time when you use it. And on top of this map's been deemed for the best for camel grinding, for Dark Aether, and after playing it for a bit, I can definitely say I do agree with that. Now, for the latest map that's been added, let's hope I get this right, Notch the Totem. This is the weakest map in my opinion. Also found out it translates to Wall of the Dead when figured out how to pronounce it. Thank you, Google Translate, very cool. The idea is interesting though, that you have to scale rooftops to get to perks or to the box and going underground. It's a cool one. These maps add a total of 4 bosses, with 3 you've seen before and the newest one being a Disciplined. The skeletal looking mage that buffs zombies around it with this glowing aura. Then a new dog round being this tormentors that scream and explode once you kill them. This is definitely the hardest map in my opinion out of the 3, but that's just due to all the props and everything you could get stuck on instead of zombies just being difficult or taking weird routes. It's really just the props. Now the customization you could do to your weapon is something else, with you upgrading them to use a slot for every part of the gun except secondaries. Allows you how much you can min-max and what you want to do, whether it be this really good hip fire machine, no aim required, extremely fun run and gun nimble gun, or opt for maximum damage range but make it a challenge for zombies to even get close enough to you to strike. This system just really makes the same gun feel different on how you want to customize it. Or you could be a meme lord and make the most hideous thing to ever be shown in zombies, really up to you. On top of customization, they've done a good job making sure a normal weapon still works in high rounds. It doesn't just become wonder weapon dependent match where it's ray gun or nothing or staffs. Makes higher rounds a lot less tedious to play. The leveling up system. I love the idea of leveling up weapons and perks on resources you get by playing the game and hitting milestones on rounds and all that. instead of microtransactions with the previous cards like BO3 and 4. I just love how it can change a perk from being absolutely useless to almost a must-have perk. Then upgrading your specials, adding more and more flavor. Specialist perks they can all be useful, but there's just 2 that just take the cake for being the most useful, and I'll also get to those later. Now let's get to the kill streaks. Now there was hyped up when we first saw the chopper gunner in the first trailer for Cold War Zombies. Everyone's been asking for this type of thing for a long time, and what if I can call it a sentry gun, all of that. The kill streaks are quick and powerful, but they also cost a lot in crafting resources, or you can gamble them in the mystery box. It fits well on the theme of being this Black Ops squad for the US military competing with the Soviets to capture and research these wonder weapons that the Germans made during this Aether research. It was a great addition. I hope with future installments they add them back again. Now let's talk about X-Films. The idea of successfully surviving through with this mechanic is really nice. It's not just you always have to kill yourself or anything like that. You can actually see your character survive and escape this place. It was a small thing, but it was a good touch, and I think a lot of people have been asking for whether it was this or a viable ending. Now we're gonna start getting to the negatives, and judging you read the title and all that, we're gonna have quite a bit of them. Now let's get to the first big part, operators. Using your multiplayer character in zombies is a horrible idea. Half of the VAs are not that good. They are bland and I assume inexperienced. They lack any sort of personality or charm like other characters has. It's always them trying to be tacty cool, saying tango down and all this. Like, the most amusing thing I've ever heard come from them is Naga saying it's better than sex when he kills the zombie, but it was only funny because it got you off guard. How many times do you think me or anyone else laughed at it after hearing it once or twice? It could kind of exactly, probably not much. I'm gonna play some voice lines between Bulldozer and the original crew and some other characters from the zombie storyline, and just tell me which characters just reek more personality and all that.
I need to find some ammunition! Ah! Ah! And the limbs go flying! How's that for an army? Get it with the arms? Fuck you. Right clear. Player, drop the chips and get me some ammo!
Now, if you think it's unfair because the original were established characters or whatever, well, I gotta reply with the original Mob of the Dead crew. They got one map only, and they made damn sure we remembered them with that one map. Having no personality works in multiplayer, because multiplayer is where they'll just mostly say reloading or enemy at the doors or whatever. But in zombies, they just don't shut up, and it generally brings down the zombie experience. I can't help think these choices were made so Activision could save $1 on voice acting and experienced voice actors and replace them with very inexperienced or first time ones. Now, let's get to the story. Everyone was anxious to see what this new story is going to be about. Well, put it bluntly, it's boring. It's not interesting. It's just Cold War, but in zombies. The writing is in the campaign where the US isn't the best guy ever, only wants the best of the best with no secret motives at all. It's not getting the technology for themselves to use in warfare or covering their own asses, like how in the campaign, where the whole entire point on stopping Percy was because, the US could get blamed for nuking all of Europe, it was just the Russian bad guy's fault. Instead of, they could have easily got a moral gray area, they have to go with this cookie cutter, evil, my bug guy Russians, who have almost no justification for their actions to do other than, haha, we want to dominate the world. And the US being the good old savior hero, the badasses that stop them with almost no struggles at all. Now imagine, they could have done this so easily, like, here's what I could have come up almost on the fly. You start on the first mission, it's massive failures for the Soviets or Omega trying to see what the Germans had done during the Second World War. With the US getting rid of this, I reckon I'm going into the dark aether without fully recognizing the consequences going in, jumping the gun. And the consequences is opening up and going aside. They make portals for the zombies travel in and out, making the world unsafe. And let's say these major portals lead you to Firebase Z, Vietnam, where you understand how this portal between the Aether and the human world works while researching. And then when Order attacks you, that's when you kind of realize, hey, this threat is world ending. Maybe we should not go against each other. And with that, you finally talk to Dr. Peck, and Omega Requiem agreed to look beyond the nation's ideologies, the Cold War conflict, the party systems, and all of that. At the Berlin Wall, which would be kind of a cool symbolism of the Cold War, like coming together to stop Valentine and her torments from attacking Berlin and stopping her and maybe sealing a good chunk of the Dark Aether portals, which could lead to the next map. This would do better because you have both sides being morally gray. Maybe they could have both an evil person in the background trying to get their own motives going. But you have the story of these enemies coming together. Kind of almost sounds like this has happened historically, not that far behind the date set in the game. Now, the cutscenes are horrible. You have 4 guys at the same time that be the exact person, which could be kind of humorous, but they add nothing, absolutely nothing. So you don't care for them. They're a silent protagonist, which is goofy because you have people like Maxis, if I basically literally talking to them, and they don't say anything. They see these literal dark aether portals into this other dimension they've only just learned. Not a reaction, no surprise, nothing. Now compare this to cutscenes in BO 3 or 4 where your character's a zombie crew actually reacted to what's happening to them. You know what, you can go further back, look at Mob of the Dead or Origins. You see more emotion put in those trailers than the cutscene. It's absolutely ridiculous. Well, you can even go farther back and look at Black Ops 1. To illustrate even further, I'm gonna show you comparisons between Call of the Dead intro and the Mauer Toten ending cutscene. I think it's just crazy what the difference is gonna be.
We're completely surrounded!
We're completely fucked! Are you girls kidding me? I've been praying for this shit! Come on!
Boys, let's get to work.
You cannot stop the Forsaken. He will consume this world.
Deliver the warhead to the Dark Ether. Let us be done with this.
Get back to hair and makeup. You don't look dead enough.
Come on, let's go. That ain't in the script.
Is now free. All you need to do is come and collect him.
Boy, are you a sight for sore eyes. I do appreciate your assistance, but regrettably, I cannot allow you to leave Berlin. До свидания, Requiem.
Absolutely no time into these cutscenes or story. But instead, just putting effort in it, they do the typical good guys keep escaping through with huge plot armor and all that. It just makes the story uninteresting. You don't care for anyone. And one last thing. If you beat the Easter egg, those guys at the start say the same thing every mission. There is no mute them or hit enter to skip. So you gotta have the same dialogue every fucking time. You just want to play the map. It's annoying. It's down. It's stupid. It really is. It should have been like old maps where, you had to actually look for these dialogue options, whether it was finding a radio or whatever. The music of Zombies is such of a huge importance, whether it's that ear yet recognizable piano track present on Black Ops 1 and 2, or when you are in the middle of a round and that hard rock from Beauty of Annihilation on Duriz, or that 115 on Kino kicks in. It's always, so much fun to have that going. With Cold War, what did they add to the music? Nothing. Nothing at all. No music, no kick-ass soundtrack, nothing. All the music player was a great idea at first. The thought to play Beauty of Annihilation 115 on command, or even play multiplayer music if it fits the zombie scenarios. That's a cool idea. Would have loved it, except 115 is just an instrumental version of it. I couldn't find a reason why they made this choice, but with Activision's track record and my assumption, they just didn't want to pay Alina Segman the royalties for her voice. Now let's get into the lack of perk selection in this game. It is laughable. It only has 9 perks in 8 months in its life cycle. Actually, it might be 9 now, but whatever. The only game to have less perks than this game currently is World at War, a game that started zombies and a game that came out in 2008. It's right now tied for Black Ops 1, while at the same time missing one of the core perks, Double Tap. And for whatever reason, people are loving to defend Activision, but this game doesn't need it. With that reply, you don't need any perks. You only need wall buys and a starter weapon. World at War proved this, but they added perks to have more fun with the game mode. Even then, they had a perfect choice. Perfect opportunity to mix the double taps together with a leveling up system. Now let's talk about how they're forcing Warzone into zombies. You may ask, what do I mean? How about you don't even start with grenades, even though it would make sense with you able to create your own class. You need to loot it. Or how Quick Revive got stripped for its solo use instead replaced with the exact same self-revive system from Warzone. Or how about the Warzone weapon tiers making an appearance? But come on, what happens to the classic just, needing a pack-a-punch? Then the armor system also making an appearance, which kind of takes the point of Juggernaut, and I would say the armor is really just better than Juggernaut, which sucks, and the weapon tiers are definitely much better than Pack-a-Punch in terms of damage and all this. On top of this, the tiers don't affect on how much attachment your gun can have, to my knowledge. It's just a straight up damage upgrade, as if you just Pack-a-Punch it again. And I cannot help as feel like tiers is stronger, more significant. I actually got a clip where I have a Pack 1 gun versus a blue weapon. The blue weapon just slowly out damages it, kind of proving tiers is better than Pack-a-Punch. Yeah, you could argue this is a big nitpick, but I can't ignore it. It was the whole survival aspect again, and it feels like a cheap way to try to lure Warzone players onto buy the full game to try out zombies, because haha, we have the fucking loot system and the tier system and self-revive. Please buy the game for full $60 that we're never gonna lower. Please, please, please buy it. Now with the multiplayer Warzone being forced in, now you have stims. So on top of armor, if you finally take damage once they finally break your armor, which is once in a million years, well, just use a stim, heal out any damage. You almost will always out heal the damage the zombies are doing to you. Unless you are literally swarmed or you have a boss going after you. So I'm gonna reflect a bit. You have Juggernog, armor, specials ability, and stim pocket. You get to use as a get out free situation. And when you finally go down, you got self-revive, which is infinite. There's no 3 strikes and you're out. And if you go down again, that's it. Nope, you can keep punishing it and all of that. You have 5 layers of protection to stop you ending the game and losing. The sense of all tension and survival is thrown out the window. You never need a setup round. You're just ready to go on round 1. And there's no flavor. When I went back and played older zombies, I realized something small, but once I realized, I can't shake it off, and it became really obvious. The flavor of zombies went away. Remember how big of a deal it was to pack a punch your weapon? The risk as well as the machine will, take your gun, and it'll sound like an oven, give a little ding. Once it's done, it's gone. Your guy just throws your weapon in and just comes back. They feel nowhere near as good as before. No, it has much risk because it's just clicking your, clicking a weapon. No, sorry, clicking a button, bam, gun right there. No risk, no satisfaction, no animation. Your guy crunching his knuckles, nothing. Just boop, it's there. There you go. The announcer doesn't have the same impact like the original and whatever Black Ops 1 or even in Black Ops 2 did. I know it's supposed to be ripped off, and it sounds like the operator pop-up bland and called in. One thing I've noticed is the voice acting in general feels like it was just done in one shot. Nobody takes anything all phoned in, which is an issue when you go back to old zombies and see the care they would put into the zombies mode, whether it was just announcer voice, pack-a-punch animations, or something along those lines. To contain the little tangent on pack-a-punch here, remember when you pack-a-punch certain weapons or completely rework them, like the classic Mustang Sally? Or how about the DSR, when you pack-a-punched it 2 times, it got iron sights, where you can even get those in multiplayer. That novelty on how your weapon could just be completely reworked like that added so much more replayability. I understand this may go against the customization credit if the pack-a-punch on certain weapons just simply rework them, but the point I'm getting at, pack-a-punch is nearly the same for every weapon. May increase a better damage output, that's it, with shotguns getting the usual 2 shells per one when you're reloading it. One system. It made pack-a-punch predictable and boring now. If you pack-a-punch the MP5, now you know how a pack-a-punch PPSH is gonna be. That's just kind of the whole issue there. Pack-a-punch is boring and not exciting anymore. Now we're gonna go into the negatives of the map. Die Machine. I'm gonna mainly skip this one. I don't call it a perfect, but there's really no glaring map design flaws. The only thing I can really say is the boss, Megaton, can be a bit inconsistent with his melee hits, but that's about it. Now let's talk about Firebase C. It's the second map we got, and we got reskinned zombies and a reused boss. This would have been a great time to mix up the zombies' appearance a little, to show more Vietnamese clothing other than a rice hat and some t-shirts. My idea would have been include North Vietnamese army uniforms, anything to drive away from just simple Soviet-styled uniforms. I get it. It's like, I get it, it's a Russian base, but it's also in Vietnam. No country is just gonna allow a foreign military to have
its own base there without their own troops guarding the base as well in their own nation. This to me showed laziness and a lack of creativity at the very beginning, and unfortunately that laziness definitely stayed throughout the zombies in this edition of the series. Now on to Naruto Toten. The cool thing about scaling a rooftop to rooftop, as I said earlier, it's over within 10 minutes before you're given the best training spot to stay in, and you never need to go back to the rooftops unless you want to go for the box. Want to claim perks? Just go to the Wonder Fizz machine across the street and immediately drop back down. Now I want to play this scenario. Now just imagine if they removed the idea, made it maybe about 20 to 30 rooftops in varying sizes. You would have had a memorable map where you can't just apply the same strategy to it. You have to mix it up. If this sounds familiar, it's because you'd be right. There would be almost another Dura Ice from Black Ops 2, but a bit more fun because you won't be able to just fall off the building or have those crazy Nova jumpers jumping left to right, up and down. And you get to play with more horizontal. It ain't no jumps of life or leap of faith and just hope you make it. I think doing it something like that would have been a lot better than what they did. Now here's a big one, the lack of maps. While going over the maps, you'll realize something. There's only 3. A 4th one on the way, probably by Season 6. If you want to include Outbreak and Dead Ops, then you got 5 maps. Which is, congrats Cold War. You still have less than Black Ops 1, which had 11 once you include all the DLCs. It's kind of crazy how there has been no significant backlash on 4 maps total by the time Cold War is done, to only have the same devs work on Vanguard zombies. It's like, man, I don't want to go conspiracy theories here, but it's like, I feel like they just half-ass this zombies so you could just go off, buy the new ones, because they know a lot of people aren't going to be getting Vanguard unless it has zombies. The specialist abilities. When I said 2 specialist abilities a league ahead, talk about healing aura and ring of fire mostly. Oh, your friend is down? Instead of getting a mad dash towards them and hoping you get there in time, just hit a button, instant revival. It doesn't matter how close to death they are. They don't lose anything. It is so broken. And on top of, just instant revival, no matter if they're near you or across the map, they just still lose 1 perk. It would probably be more of a risk and a reward if they lost, like, all of the perks. Kind of like old zombies where keeping perks wasn't a thing. And it's like, once you go down, you get to keep all your perks. There's no punishment going down like the old one. Once you went down the Ghost Juggernaut, double tap, speed cola all at once, your hand is still just held and you're given the slightest wrap on the wrist on Undying when that was an oh shit moment. It's now just minor inconvenience. Custom weapons at spawn. Let's get this straight. You should be at a disadvantage if you want to opt for keeping your starter weapon at the start. That's why Mustang and Sally were so powerful and iconic weapon. That's thrown away because there's never a time to throw away your weapon that you have in your selected class. I purchased a wall weapon for over 1,000 credits when you can just keep refilling your ammo over and over and over again for 250 points. You can easily keep your starter weapon progressing as the game goes on, so it's never obsolete. It's always viable, which this eliminates the whole idea of struggling to get a better weapon, being smart with your points, and making that choice to move further into the map or be stuck behind a barricade because you need a wall weapon or even a box weapon. They should have kept the BO3 system where the customization came from the weapons you got from the wall or box. not giving you it right then and there. Make it almost impossible to keep your starter weapon up to par, similar how Outbreak did it. Ammo purchases to make the maps even easier. Every weapon, including wonder weapons, have purchasable ammo on the maps. This eliminates the whole purpose of Mule Kick. Why get Mule when you have infinite ammo? They even added it before Double Tap or PhD. Having these around was the whole strategic choice of keeping a box weapon or buying a wall weapon, where a box weapon can be more powerful but you have no reliable ammo source for it, while a wall weapon would be worse but have steady amounts of ammo supply to it. If they want this system in a way to fix it, increase the ammo box purchase every time you buy it by 1,000. It'll encourage more to buy a wall weapon and keep running with that if they want a more steady supply, but then also add a risk on opting for a box weapon instead. The bosses. The zombie bosses in this game are so easy. They never put up a fight. Even the Panzer soldiers, with the amount of health gen and protection you have, they can't do anything to you. Only time they are a threat is if you screw up and pin yourself against a corner. Once you kill the bosses, you're instantly rewarded too. I'd say basically a max ammo is dropped every time. And you get a good chunk of armor, which just makes it even further difficult for the zombies to get you down finally. They really, really need to rely on you making the screw up. In conclusion, Cold War Zombies is awful for being scared to challenge the player, an uninteresting story, and trying to force multiplayer and Warzone mechanics into zombies. No passion is to be seen, and a lack of perks and maps. If you think Cold War Zombies is good, I recommend you going back and trying older maps to see the difference in passion, the crew, and the whole trying to survive mentality. Now, off a little tangent, there's nothing wrong on it being easy. You can still have passion and all that if it's an easy map, kind of like Kino. That is a beloved map and is pretty easy. But the issue is, when you have so little maps, and it's so easy to just hit round 30 to 40 every time, to the point where I often just down myself, then exfil just out of boredom, you have an issue. Look at Killing Floor, you just have dozens of maps, so the difficulty isn't that big of an issue there. But that is the conclusion on why Cold War Zombies is awful. That's all. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next time.